Need some distraction. Oh, beautiful memories seep through my veins. It may be empty.
So, Linda, what do you think it means to be an artist?
Well, it means that you have that compulsion to express art in whatever way that you choose. And like for me, the way I express it is in drawing and painting.
And what happens if you were not able to draw and paint?
Well, I think it's kind of turns in on yourself. It becomes kind of destructive. It's something you have to do. You can't just not do it.
You're compelled.
It's a compulsion, inner drive, and it's there. And I think you destroy yourself if you don't express it.
What can art do?
Oh yeah, and it can inspire people to do things. You know, you feel, like the church art. A lot of the old art was church art, and they recorded the life of Christ on the walls of the church so that people could see the story of Christ.
And what else do you think it can do?
Well, it can add beauty to things. It can communicate, and it can record history, and it can inspire people because it brings out feelings in people.
Done a lot of things in your life, helping the homeless and teaching a couple of people art and attending art workshops and classes at the Mustard Seed. The other interesting thing is shattered rainbows. Can you tell us a little bit about shattered rainbows?
Well, the Alberta Shattered Rainbows Creative Society is there to encourage creative pursuits in the arts and provide opportunities for people to get involved. So actually, when I started, I was hoping that, that it would get so we'd have other little art groups like the one at the Mustard Seed. And like my daughter Freya is a dancer and has a dance group. We could expand and have other groups to get more people involved because there's many people that have gifts and talents and that they need an opportunity to express those things. And that's what Shattered Rainbows is for.
How did you come up with that name?
It was actually the name of a poetry book I wrote. And the idea is if you shatter a rainbow into many, many, many small pieces, each piece is a beautiful small rainbow. And that if you find the most shattered life, like somebody's life has just been shattered by life, there still are those areas in them that are functioning, and you can build upon those and then create more health, and so that the person becomes more fulfilled and stuff.
Okay. Now, I've heard you mention that you've taught yoga for over 50 years.
Yeah.
And performed hatha dance routines. Do you think there's a connection between art and yoga?
Well, yoga, I think, is more like ballet and gymnastics than it is like fitness, because you're pushing your body into the limits in these beautiful positions and beautiful forms. And so yoga is beautiful, and then joining them together into a routine is almost like a gymnastics floor exercise routine in hatha dance.
You're doing yoga and art, they're connected. I think I heard you mention something about you thought that it has a healing purpose.
Yeah, because it gives people something to belong to, a sense of belonging if you belong to something, and an identity and meaning. Like in the art class I go to at the Mustard Seed, maybe I'm getting onto a different question.
No, it's okay.
In the art class I go to the Mustard Seed, we have people who are, have had jail time, people who are experiencing periods of homelessness. We have people who are coping with mental illness. We have some who are quite affluent. And yet everybody is sitting around the table painting and laughing and eating. And everybody is okay in that situation.
So you've volunteered a lot of time to helping those less fortunate. And there's another thing that you've done to help the less fortunate. Can you tell me about the Alberta Street News?
Oh, the Alberta Street News? Well, actually, I started out when the Spirit Change newspaper came to Edmonton in 1993. I became a vendor because at that time I was my family, we were on welfare, and I was unable to work at that time. So I started selling newspapers and writing for the newspaper, and I saw that the value in the newspaper and and just how much it helped when you have that extra money. Because what poor people need most is not programs and things that they have hoops to jump through. What poor people actually need most is money. They wouldn't be poor, and then they can buy the things they need.
And what about, you started with The Voice, didn't you?
It was
Our
called Spirit
Voice?
Change, and then they changed the name to Our Voice, and I was selling the paper and writing. And then it was 2003 that Our Voice was coming to an end. You could see that the Bissell Center was dropping Our Voice, and I started the Edmonton Street News, which later became Alberta Street News when we started selling in Calgary as well.
How does it help the homeless people, the Street News?
Well, it gives them an opportunity to earn money.
By
selling papers. And even if you're an alcoholic, it gives you an opportunity to earn the money for your beer rather than have to resort to not so good things like stealing.
You mentioned that you belong to an art group and that it brings people from all walks of life to the same level of...
Yeah, because we're all artists, and we're all equal. We're all artists. And when we're at a venue, like right now, our art is being shown at the Milner Library for the next 3 months, starting I think next week. And so you can't tell, which artist painted which, as far as how rich they are.
Right.
They're all equal as artists.
So you're a very creative person. Have you felt inspired to create change in your community on purpose? We know that you have created change.
I was just being me, doing the things I do. And things just kind of evolved. I never set out to be an activist or to change things. I did get those Queen Elizabeth II medals for my volunteer work, but I was kind of like, they're giving me a medal for just being me and doing what I naturally do.
What better excuse is there to be you and be such a wonderful you?
No, that's the truth, I was shocked that I thought, and then I get that Project Plowshare's Peace Award, and I thought, I have done nothing.
You obviously have done something to win that award. We stopped by the sculpture, the homelessness memorial on the way here. So of all of those things that you've done, has any creative experience had a really big impact on your life or on others?
I really don't know. Because there's so many things, there's so many experiences. I can't pinpoint any one thing, But I hope that I've been a source of, inspiration or being able to help a few people in the things I've done.
So Linda, what inspired you to start Shattered Rainbows?
Well, my whole family are very creative people. My daughter Freya is a dancer and is a member of the Wild Krampus group and a member of the Viking group, and she sews costumes that are very, very immaculate. So I wanted everything to be under one umbrella.
Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on her beauty in the moonlight. Oh, with her, she tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your crown and cut your hair. And from your lips she drew hallelujah.
Linda, what actions could you take under the umbrella of Shattered Rainbows to help more people? And what might be the challenges?
Well, if we could get grant money for it, then people who have a project, or to want to put on a dance performance or something, there would be money for it, money for the costumes, money for the venue. Probably the money would be recovered in the dance performance because we've done some before, but there'd be money there to be used for things that people are involved in. And even for art groups, there could be money to provide canvases and paint and brushes and stuff, or whatever. If you're doing beading, you could get beading work. But the problem is, since many of us are Indigenous people, we could apply for grants for Indigenous people things. My daughter Freya has actually produced a production called Whitewash about the residential school experience. I actually was in it. Anyway, so if they had money, to put on productions, that's what we need.
And that would probably generate more interest and more money.
Yeah, and then of course, the money would be recovered when the performance came out, but getting it together is what costs money. The same with the art, we have an art exhibit. People can sell art and stuff, but then they can get money for it, but you still need to produce it first.
Right. Therein lies the challenge in the arts.
What Jim said, I don't really have much to say, except I want to say thank you to Jim Granette and to Project Plowshares for this award. And thank you to my family and friends and all of the people who have supported me over the past 26 years in my work with street ministry and my work with newspapers. I think I first saw a street newspaper when I was running an inner city mission, serving soup, and I was fascinated by the idea of street newspapers from the first time I saw one, and I wanted to be an editor of one from the first time I saw one, because I could see the potential that here was a paper that not only gave a voice to the people who needed a voice, but it also gives people who are poor what they need most, and that's money. And I just wanted to also add that my faith in God is very central to everything that I do. Thank you.